Hi, Kat Chancellor here with Stamp Art Connection and stampartconnection.com. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I want to show you a very special project. Take a moment right now and please like this video because I know you're going to love it, especially if you follow me. I know you're those avid stampers out there that love to have a fancy fold or a special project that you can test your crafting skills. And I've got one for you. It's not as hard as it looks, but it is a perfect project for any kind of gift giving that you may have, or even for some of your own scrapbooking. This is called the Gatefold Accordion Album. And I'm going to show you the one. This was my first creation. I've created it so that you can tie it with ribbon, and you open it up and you can embellish the inside. And what it has are some black pieces of cardstock that you put in here in this accordion fold that you can add photographs. You can even add photographs or scrapbook the back. Or you can give it like this and have your recipient add their memories and do some little scrapbooking on their own. So this was created with just some of my DSP that I had in my craft room, and I know you have lots as well. I use this really pretty sentiment here saying these are the moments we look back on with joy, and then inside, the best moments in my life happen with you. So just a really nice little project to make and to give. So if you stay with me till the end, I'll show you a couple of other projects that I also created. But this is what we're going to be doing today. We're going to create this album right here. It is featuring, and there it is, the inside. We're going to embellish the inside. There's our black pieces of cardstock. Isn't that pretty? And it's going to feature our friendships are like seashells. We're using the stamps, and we're also using the dies that come with the set. And these are all available on the online store from Stampin' Up. And again, if you don't buy from me because you are a hobbyist, or go onto my site and purchase the PDF so that you'll have all the information. You also need the embossing folder to create the wonderful 3D embossing effect that we use for this. I used some of the foam piece because it's nice and sturdy, and it will last a long time. Now for the pieces of that I covered, because these are covered with cardstock, and you can kind of play with the coordination, and Stampin' Up! Is so great with coordinating cardstock. I used, for example, if you purchase from Stampin' Up! Something like this is some special vellum, you get this nice piece of cardboard. So this is the cardboard that I use to construct our album, and then it's covered with wonderful DSP, or you can stamp your own cardstock. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. We're going to begin by cutting our back and front covers. I'm using that cardboard from Stampin' Up! Products. My cardboard back cover is 5 1/4 by 6, and my two sides are going to be 3 and 5 and 1/4. I'm covering them with designer series paper. I'm using the Sand and Sea DSP. My designer series paper for the back cover is cut at 7 1/4 by 8, and for the two front covers they are 5 by 5 3/4. And I'm just simply lining them up to see how I want to align them. Now, because of the way this paper covers these front covers, you're never going to get alignment. So you want to pick a pattern that is random, as opposed to something that is something like plaid. I'm going to use my multi-purpose glue. I'm adding it to the back of my piece of cardboard, and I'm going to glue it directly on the center of that back piece of DSP. I'm going to do the same with my two front covers using my multi-purpose glue, simply adding it to the back, and then I'm going to go ahead and glue them both to the center of my covers, my DSP paper that I'm going to use to cover. This will dry and adhere nicely, and once that is done, you want to go ahead and take your cover and fold using your bone folder each one of the flaps over, creating a nice crease. And by doing that, you're also going to create a box, a crease box, which we're going to use to miter our corners. And this is how I found is the best way to miter the corners for then folding over and gluing your pieces. So now you can kind of see I have that folded box there. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to cut that out, and that's created by our folds with our bone folder. I'm going to cut it all the way around, and then I'm going to do a diagonal cut to miter my corners, just like that, and that makes sure that you have a perfect cover for your album. I'm going to do this for both back cover, and I'm also going to do it for my front pieces. You will need 2 pieces of basic white cardstock cut at 4 and 5 1/4, and these are going to create our accordion spines that are going to connect both our front and back pieces. Once I've done that, you want to take a scoreboard or your Simply Scored tool from Stampin' Up. You want to place the 4-inch along the side, and you're going to score at 1/2 inch increments all the way across. You're then going to take these pieces and you're going to create accordion folds, which are going to be basically just mountains and valleys. Use your bone folder to make sure that you have them, the creases nice and crisp. This will help with your assembly. You're going to do it for both pieces. And here I'm just kind of creasing as I fold, just to make sure that I get a nice tight crease. And there you go. Those are going to be our our spine. Now, if you look at them, you've got mountains and valleys. When you're looking at the mountains to the top, valleys to the bottom, you're going to place some tear tape along the mountain sides of your accordion folds, which is basically the second, fourth, and sixth panel on the mountain side. And what we're trying to create here is, in creating the spine, you're going to have a nice kind of a fan that is going to be used to adhere some of the basic black cardstock. So here I'm kind of folding those together, and you should have this kind of fan, and I'll show it to you in a minute. And I'm just making sure that the creases are nice and tight, and the fan is going to go with the fan edges to the inside and the taped edges to the outside. Now we're going to adhere these. I'm putting some tear tape on the edges of those two fan flaps, because now we're going to adhere the fan pieces to our front and back. Now, if you get my PDF, I'm going to show you an alternate way to make this project so that you can add ribbon and ensure that the ribbon is hidden. So it's not being shown in this video, but the description and is on my PDF. So there I'm just adhering the fan pieces to the back of my panel, and with the open fan pieces to the inside and then the closed pieces to the end. I'm lining up the panel after I've decided that I know which side is up and which side is down, and I'm just kind of adhering it on both sides. This is a technique I use, but I have a better method, and again, that's on my PDF. I need to make sure that the top and bottom are aligned, and I do have a little bit of a mismatch here on this particular card, but but as I said on my PDF, I show you a better method. Okay, now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and I'm kind of showing you that for this particular project, I want the ribbon around the outside, but I'm going to have to add that in at the end. Right now, what we're going to do is we're going to adhere the inside cover pieces to both our panels. Now, the dimension for the inside cover pieces for your front panel, 2 pieces measuring 2 3/4 by 5 inches for the front panel. And then for the back panel, you're going to need 5 and 5 3/4 for the inside cover in the back. And I'm simply going to use some adhesion, either multi-purpose glue or a little bit of tear tape. I think I'm using some liquid fusion here. I'm just kind of experimenting with different types of glue. I would just recommend the multi-purpose glue. That's how I made my the last 2 projects that I'm going to show you at the end of this video. What I like about the liquid fusion, and this is available on my online store that is through Amazon, is that if it leaks, it's not tacky, and you won't run the risk of it kind of having any tacky edges on your project. I'm putting this on the inside, and this is also going to kind of cover some of the spine on your book, on your album. And there it is. So see how easy that was? It's very simple to put together. Okay, there we go. We've completed our album. So you can see that's really turned out nicely. It's really not very difficult. So now what we're going to do is we're going to grab some black cardstock. You're going to need 1 sheet of basic black cardstock, and this will create all the pieces for the inside of your album. Take your stamping trimmer, and you're going to cut 6 pieces that are 2 3/4 by 4 1/2. And then you're going to take each piece, and we're going to use tear tape on the edge to apply to our album. Now once you have cut those, you're going to take off the tear tape, and you'll notice that your inside flaps from your accordion backbone will have 3 flaps. Okay, and you're going to start on the left side. You're going to add 1 at the top, 1 at the bottom, and then you're going to add 1 at the top, and you're going to do that on each individual flap. Then on the other side, you're going to alternate, and it's going to be your first flap is going to have 1 at the bottom, second flap will have 1 at the top, and then the last flap will have 1 at the bottom again. And this kind of gives you an alternating pattern for all your flaps that are going to go on in your album. So now we're going to basically begin with our embellishment, and I'm using the dies, the embossing folder, and the stamp set that comes with the Friends Are Like Seashells. I am going to start out with a piece of basic white cardstock because we're going to use our die to cut out our shape, and then I'm using the stamps Blushing Bride and Flirty Flamingo to do some stamping. I'm using all the stamps. There's some kind of like some background stamps that I'm going to use with the Blushing Bride first, and that's going to go on the shape. You can see that the shape it's a kind of a shape that just kind of matches the shape of the shell, and I'm going to do that for all the different shells with Blushing Bride, and then I'm going to go ahead and we're going to stamp the image with Flirty Flamingo. Then I'm going to cut these out, or before I cut them out, we're going to run them through the with the embossing folder, and the embossing folder is going to give us that nice relief, that nice texture, and that we can then cut out the different pieces to create our embellishments. Now there are several other videos that I am going to link that are going to give you more details about how to use this stamp set for some other projects that I've done in the past, that I will add a link here so you can go back and to refer to. But basically I'm just going to go ahead and turn on the music, and we'll just kind of roll through and let you watch how I put the embellishments together. before we put our attach any of our embellishments, you're going to take about 26 inches of ribbon, any of coordinating ribbon. In this case, I'm using the organza glitter ribbon, which is really nice. It's nice and stiff. I'm folding it in half, so I have the center of the ribbon is going to go in the center of my back. Here I'm adding some of the tear tape, which when I lift it, it's invisible, and I can go ahead and kind of lay my ribbon on top of it. Now on my PDF, I will show you another way to make this ribbon disappear. The back of the ribbon, it will be invisible. I'm just tying it on. I'm just making sure that it's adhered tightly, and all my pieces kind of fold together. And now I'm going to use these embellishments to kind of lock that ribbon onto the front of my album. And I'm just kind of trying to find what the best arrangement is for my for the front. Once I've determined that, I'm going to go ahead and glue that in with some of the Fast Fusion. But here I'm showing you that I'm taking the sentiments from the Peaceful Moments stamp set. This is available in the Stampin' Up annual catalog. I'm going to stamp that on some black cardstock with some Versamark and emboss with white embossing powder to create a sentiment both for the inside and for the outside of my album. And I don't think I used my embossing buddy, so there may be some stray pieces of white embossing powder that's going to show up on this piece, but that's just a cautionary tale about why you need to use your embossing buddy. I'm then going to use another piece, another sentiment, and this sentiment is from the Daisy Lane set. Not sure if it's retired, but it's a wonderful set that says the best memories in my life happen with you, and that's going to go on the inside. Again, I'm not sure if I use my embossing buddy. I'm just trying to kind of clean up some of the edges with a paintbrush, and then I'm going to emboss with my heat gun. I'm using a circle punch to cut out my the sentiment that's going on the front of the card, and then I'm using my layered shapes dies to give me a nice I think it's a stitch shape framelits. It's a 2-inch circle punch that I'm using to cut out that sentiment. I'm using the stitch shaped framelits. I'm using one of the circles to give me a mat for that sentiment, and I'm going to go ahead and cut that out. I'm going to go ahead and cut the other one, and I'm going to apply that to the inside of my card. So let's keep watching. right, so there you go. I've made this wonderful album using Our Friends Are Like Seashells. I also made this album using the die cuts from our summer shadows. You know, this is a very favorite uh, very favorite piece of mine. I've made lots of cards using these flowers. And I wanted to show you kind of the bonus project that I just made. Um, these are a couple of albums, and I'm going to show you how I wrap them up because they make wonderful gifts. I used just a cellophane bag, and I wrapped it up with some pretty ribbon. This is available on the catalog, and this is going to a friend of mine to his daughters. And what I wanted to point out is on this version, and this is on my PDF, I'll show you how to do that. This version actually hides the ribbon that is that I demonstrate on my video. So I have some extra tips and tricks for how to hide that ribbon on your album, and that makes sure that you have a nice, pretty album that's put together. I didn't add any sentiments on the front. I just kind of wanted to leave it plain, but I did add some of my very favorite shadow right here, my summer shadows, these dies right here. And I created them, but I also put some gold foil in the background, and I added some bling because these are going to some young girls. And again, I left the inside totally open for them to go ahead and to decorate and add as they see fit as a photo album or for scrapbooking. I made two of them because they're going to my friend's daughters who are twins. I made one who likes pink. That's this one here. And I made the other one who happens to like blue. So pink and blue. Two more wonderful albums created using the products from Stampin' Up, using products that you have in your craft room, along with the Friends Are Like Seashells or the Summer Shadows dies. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please come back. I always have good projects for you. And if you would like to purchase my PDF, I'll have a link that you can go to and download. And with my number, you're always available to give me a call. Please like and share. The best thing you can do for me is to like my videos, give me a boost for my business if you can't purchase from my online store. This is Kat Chancellor with Stamp Art Connection and stampartconnection.com. Happy stamping.